Wasn't that wonderful? Nobody remembered the Temptations. I asked John, did he remember the Temptations? He said he vaguely heard of the Temptations. This is
Well, I
not
remember
rap.
hearing about them.
This is not rap. And then we're talking about my flip phone. People are making fun of my flip phone. And I guarantee you, 75% of your people out there would love to have a flip phone because they don't have to answer anybody unless they know the phone number. And that's number one. They don't have to get messages because I don't know how to get messages out of this thing. I just know if I see a phone number that I know, I'm going to pick it up and talk. And if it's that important, if I miss the call, they'll call me back. So that's an easy thing. Hey, tonight's going to be fun. For the last about 3 months, people have been asking me a lot of when are we going to have questions, a Q&A period? And I said, I have no idea. I had players and and that was fun. But I think it's to a point now where a lot of people have questions. The season is, I think, 2.5 weeks away. And people, two of my real best friends, John and Miles, they're wonderful, wonderful people. And, they have jobs, but they do things for this Zoom. And we're trying to bring a lot of happiness to people that it's been tough for the last a little bit over a year. And I know that I think yesterday or the day before was a year anniversary. And I'm saying to myself, how in the world it's been a year? Everybody thought we're going to get out of this thing after 2-3 weeks. And it's actually been a year. And it's a whole new world. It's a whole new season now. I know Miles is the biggest Met fan in the world.
Absolutely.
And I think the Mets might have a pretty decent team.
I think they're going to have a great team.
They really are going to have a good team. But I think the Yankees is going to be pretty good. I think they got some maybe a few little what ifs. I think with Britton going down, I think Anderhart going down. He's just too good of a hitter. You need to really talk to him. Miles, that's a good client to actually be able to talk to, because I think, I think he was hitting the ball fairly decent. He reminds me a lot about me. You come up, you hit the ball well, like that, and then all of a sudden you get injured. Once you get injured and you're trying to make the team and there's people behind you, and when you have a one-year contract, it's very difficult to have any type of power with the management of the team. When we played, of course, we have one-year deals. And, when I hurt myself being the first DH in 73, I hurt myself down in spring training about 5 days before we were supposed to break camp. And Ellie Howard and Dick Hauser came up to me and asked me, did I want to take a few, maybe be put on the DL? And I said, absolutely not. Because I remember when I first went down there and Mickey Mantle was just going out and I was just coming in, and Mickey was being taped like a mummy. And I always remember Wally Pipp and Lou Gehrig. And Wally Pipp was a heck of a good ball player. That's what they told me. Yep. And then you brought somebody who was really an unknown guy, became a Lou Gehrig. And that's the story. And when you have a one-year contract, if you get sent down to the minor leagues, back when we played, we don't get called back up. Nowadays, it's like you get
revolving door.
Yeah, it's a revolving door. You get down there, and then you pitch a game up in the big leagues. After you rest down there for 4 days, and they bring somebody else to pitch, then they'll bring that guy up. I don't think they could have done that, because if they could have done that, then I think they would have messed up the reserve clause. They would not have. I think every time you get called up, it was a it was like a mark against your time that you came up there. And instead of 4 years and you go down, if you came up twice, you got 2 years left. But nowadays, I think you could just go back and forth and back and forth. But anyway, you know, what I think, I know that John is going to talk about memorabilia, just not myself. I met John at 7th Inning in Cooperstown, New York. The owner of the store was Vinny, one of the greatest guy in the whole world. And I think they had the greatest shop in the whole world. I met John down there. We became very, very good friends. We, did a few things together. And every time I went up there, we always talked and got along and we did things. And he brought up one time about my cell phone. I had a signing down there I had to do. And John looked at my flip phone. He said, "We don't have a plug to charge your phone." But I think eventually we got it. I think we went to maybe CBS. I think they went back in the back and dug up something that was prehistoric. And you did charge it because I had to leave after I signed, I think. And I flew back to Atlanta, or I flew back to to New York. I did something. But anyway, we became very, very good friends.
15 years ago, that phone was a dinosaur.
I've had it for 30 years.
I forget. Sometimes I text you and then you don't respond and I forget. That's why you don't respond, because of the phone.
No, I have no idea. But I know your number. And when you call, I'll pick up. When Miles calls, if he ever texts me, I think a couple of times he's done that. He said, "Well, I just text you. I told you about my son and his game." I said, "I have no idea." I said, "I probably got out of 100,000 texts, and I have no idea how to get one text."
We got to get you to upgrade.
I made my life easy, and that's what I do. I try to make my life as easy as possible, and that's why I love to do this, and I love to talk to these people. These old Yankee fans, and they remember me. And, after I leave and after I get through talking to them, I start thinking about, maybe these guys are my age, and I never thought I was going to be 72 years old. I remember the time when I signed when I was 17 years old and I was a baby. I go up to New York City. First time I ever get off the plane up in New York City, they put me in a hotel at the Hilton down on 7th Avenue. Now, you go to a stadium, the old stadium to the new stadium, it just goes really, really fast and everything like that. But Miles, I met Miles. I think we had an event where you had like 75, 80% Mets, I believe. Right. And I was the only Yankee, I believe. Hey. And we had it was in Boca. Was it in Boca?
It was in Boca. It was, I did something for the 40th anniversary of the 69 Mets in 09. I knew Swoboda, and he hooked me up with Shamsky, hooked me up with you. And I had Eddie Krampel there, and I had Lenny Randall, just because I was friends with him at the time. But listen, I had to, it's Boca. It's like South Jersey, South New York. Yeah. I could not have an event without at least one Yankee there, because unfortunately, every place you go, 4 to 5 guys are wearing Yankee hats. And, I had to cater. Listen, I want to make money.
But, but the good part, we met your mom and dad, and we met your brother. Yeah. And then the next day, I believe, we had a golf outing at the country club, and we played golf, and it was unbelievable.
Actually, the next morning, in the morning, we did a baseball clinic, if you remember, at one of the high schools. Yeah. You guys worked with all the youth, the kids. It was
it was a big crowd.
Big crowd. And it was mostly guys my age who wanted to see the 69 Mets and wanted to meet you, the Yankee fans. And then you went to the country club after that, and you guys played golf. I didn't go. I didn't play golf that day.
Yeah, but the kids have no idea who we are, basically. They look at, the parents always will give them a book, or they go to the baseball encyclopedia. I want you to see what this guy did. I want you to see what Rocky's catch that he did. I want you to see a Sham. He had 4 straight home runs. I want you to see this. I want you to see that. I want you to go on what's the name of it? Raymond. Everybody loves Raymond. And people don't realize that, everybody loves Raymond, that they named the dog after Art Shamsky.
Yep.
And the funny part about it is, I had no idea what, anything, Everybody Loves Raymond. My wife watches that every single night. And I came in, I was doing some stuff on the computer, okay? And then all of a sudden, they're talking about the Mets on that thing. And they're talking about Art Shamsky. I turned around, almost flipped my back looking at Sham. And he had like the disco mustache and the long shaggy hair and like this. I said, that's my part. This is Sham. But it was great. It was, hey, when you're a ball player, you have a very, very small fraternity. And, when you're together, when people have done something, John, in the memorabilia and worked with seventh inning up at Cooperstown, went all the Hall of Famers. And, he took care of Ozzie Smith. How long did you take care of Ozzie, John?
Oh, well, Vin had Ozzie for, almost 10 years exclusive for induction weekend. So I was probably involved on that probably for 7 of the years. Ozzie's a great guy. He's one of the coolest Hall of Famers, down to earth, really cool guy. But yeah, there's just been a whole bunch of people that Vin had, and that's why I was so successful, because Vin as a mentor was just, the best you can have, honestly. He was honest, he was fair with everybody, and the players, including the players. A lot of guys, Ron, this, a lot of the agents and representatives and the store owners, they just want to get you guys in for nothing, and they want to milk you guys for everything they possibly could. And that's the saddest thing about on that end of it is the advantage that they took of not only the baseball players, but the old boxers, the football players, unless you're the Jeters or A-Rods, those guys can't really touch those guys, but they take advantage of whoever they could. And that's why I was lucky to have Vin as a mentor, because he was total opposite. And that's why I was successful. And it was because of him.
Well, we had so much fun up there,
We did have
like
a good
yourself.
time.
Yeah, like people like yourself. And you're talking about the agents.
Yeah.
I hate to tell you, the agents, when I first started, people try to do this and this and this. And then all of a sudden, let's say if they charge $20 an autograph, all of a sudden they'll give you like $3 and they'll take the $17 and they say, well, I had to pay for the plane fare. I had to pay for the hotel. All of a sudden,
Accommodations, yeah.
Yeah, you get to $3, and that reminds me of like meal money that we had, in the big leagues, that they gave us $3. Only thing we could eat was White Castles.
Ron, you had the meal money, but that didn't matter to you. Apparently, every inning you went down to the clubhouse and ate anyway.
Oh yeah, the good part about being a DH, you make sure that you find a good stadium. I tell you what's a great stadium, because we got to take some questions. I think Lenny's going to, I think some guys probably throw up some questions, but the greatest place, and let me tell you something, Milwaukee was wonderful, because Milwaukee always had the great cheese, and they had a guy named Jimmy Wisner. He had the greatest deviled eggs in the whole wide world. And Thurman always got mad at me, because being the DH, always used to slip myself back into the clubhouse and eat all the deviled eggs. And he loved them. And he used to sneak back after he hit and used to take some of those eggs and then put them in his locker to make sure nobody eats them and stuff. That's what we used to do, because, when we ate, they gave us a spread. And after the spread was over with, there's no more. But nowadays, they keep on bringing them and bringing them. In Kansas City, they're telling me in Kansas City, they keep on bringing ribs at the ribs after every single game. But and us, we have to go out after the ball game and eat the ribs. But you got some questions for us, Lenny?
Yeah, this one's an interesting question. I wouldn't ask it if it wasn't interesting. It's about the 73 Yankees. They were in first place through the end of July, around there. You were hitting 400. You were on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Georgia just bought the team that season. Then they seemed to collapse in July and August. I mean, August and September. Any particular reason why? I mean, that season?
Well, I think it was when a team really collapsed, it collapses for two reasons. No, really the hitting will slack up a little bit. But the majority back then, what was so strong was the pitching. And I think our pitching, it started off extremely well. When George bought the team, we got, and Billy became the manager. I think the team, the second half, because we didn't have such a overpowering team, we had the Catfishes, and, you had the Abel Stoudemire's, and you had the, Fritz Petersons. And they just, they pitched a lot of innings, and we just did not have a second band of pitchers to come in and to keep the league there.
Person who asked the question also, that was George's first season as the owner. And then Ralph Howe quit right after
Correct.
the season was over.
Yes.
Was Steinbrenner's interference a factor also in things not working out well?
Well, when I tell you, Ralph was a great manager. He was my best manager that I ever had. And he was a guy that was a player's manager, a total player's manager. He came in because when George came in, George wanted total control. Before George came in, it was owned by CBS. And CBS just used that as a tax write-off and really did not get involved in it. At that time, they had Michael Burke, they had Lee McPhail, they had Johnny Johnson. But now they came in, they had a Billy Martin who Billy wanted to, they basically pushed him out a little bit. I could see that because they wanted a high-powered person. George wanted somebody that was, Ralph was like a low-key type of manager where you had Billy, you had no idea what you're going to be getting from him. And they wanted that type of, I think they wanted the rah type of guy, and it did work. I mean, he did a nice job. He was sometimes tough to deal with. Sometimes he wasn't at the ballpark for 9 innings. Sometimes he would come in about the 7th inning, and sometimes he would leave on the 3rd inning. And so you don't know if he's going to get thrown out. It was a couple of times before the ball games, he was thrown out. I don't know if you remember, he was thrown out before the game. The first pitch was even started. And then all of a sudden he's gone. So, it was our type of team and the manager. And Billy was a different type of manager to deal with.
Can I ask a question about that team?
Yes.
How was the team chemistry in '73? Was that a factor?
I think we had pretty good chemistry at that time. But the problem was, let me see, what year was the Kekich and the Fritzes? Was that 73? That was 73. When we first started, that should have gone on the David Letterman. It probably did. I'm thinking about it. Should have gone this and that and whatever. It made every paper. It made every magazine, and it made every. Unfortunately, they didn't have tons of comedy shows back then, where everything was just so. They talked about anything and everything, and that hurt a little bit. That hurt a little bit because everybody, when they went into a city, the first thing you get met is at the airport, and you get the TV stations and stuff. So nobody wanted to talk about baseball. They talked about the trade, and that took a little bit away. But then when Fritz got traded, you remember when Fritz got traded to Cleveland, that started bringing in like a Nettles. Nettles came in 73. I'm not really bad with dates, but I think Nettles came in 73. Am I right? And Chris came in 73. Am I right? Chris came in. I'm really bad at dates. And
Chris
But
went in after 73.
he came in after 73, but there was a few guys, because I remember there was a Tom Buskey and Fritz and guys get traded to Cleveland, and it was a little turmoil, and then it affected us a little bit, it was there. Everywhere you went, no baseball, it was about the trade.
You probably could have used a team psychologist, right, Dr. Miles?
Oh yeah, I would have.
Now this guy
could
could
have
have.
available.
Oh, this guy would have been great.
Yeah.
I think the first team. Am I right? The first team that actually had a psychologist, okay, was with the Atlanta Braves. Atlanta Braves, and I remember when that came up, they started talking that they had a psychologist. And you start thinking, why do they need a psychologist? Like that. And then you meet a John Smoltz, Tommy Glavine, and living down in Atlanta, you meet these guys at golf tournaments. And they said that there was guys in and out of that place that where, I forgot the guy's name. Oh gosh, you know who I'm talking about, the psychologist from for the Braves. What was his name?
Starts with an L.
Yeah, but anyway, but they used to talk all the time. It was a big thing. And then and Bobby Cox, of course, Bobby and I roomed together when he was in Syracuse, and Bobby would say that it really helped an awful lot because people just did not have an outlet when they actually went home. They can't talk to their wife and say, honey, I'm over 40, and what do I do? You need to get some sleep at night. And then you wake up the next morning, you have a hard time sleeping, you wake up the next morning, and mentally you start thinking about the game, you start thinking about your slump, you go to the ballpark, you take BP, you're not hitting the ball extremely well, you start thinking about these things. And so, people, you look at kids nowadays where they go home to their computer and the computer can't talk to them. And then they go try to play baseball, and that doesn't work. That doesn't work. So, somebody like yourself, that's why they got a psychologist on every team now, because, they never had a chiropractor before. Now they got one on every team. They have a psychologist. When they have a problem, they go to somebody like yourself. And that's why, working, coming on board, we have a lot of kids, a lot of grandfathers, and, a lot of, they talk about their kids. A lot of them said, well, what do you recommend that my grandson should do? Because he's doing this, he's doing that. His mom and dad are putting a lot of pressure on him. And then after the pressure, it's more pressure. And then it's more pressure because, and then the mom and dad spends money for lessons, and they spend this and that and whatever. And they said, you got one hit out of the last 15 at bat, and I already spent $5,000 for lessons. What are you doing? It's a waste of time, and it's under pressure. I mean, it's hard to do, Miles. And that's what you're good at, and that's what you do.
Thank you. By the way, I just did some research. Jack Llewellyn was the
that's who. Okay. Yeah, that's who.
He's got a couple of books. I definitely read one of his books many years ago. I couldn't tell you where it is at the moment. I have so many books like that. You raise a good point, because I work with kids. I work with high schoolers. I work college players, and I work with some independent players right now, independent, semi-pro football players and things like that. And the same thing, they always say the same thing, is like the expectations that they have on themselves, or that their parents or that their coaches put on them. It's almost impossible to even come close to meeting those expectations. And you talked about pressure. Oh my God. And by the way, first off, baseball's hard. You know that. Okay. If you go 115, if you're trying, it's just, you're in a slump. Maybe you might be hitting the ball right at someone. You're not trying not to get a hit. So a lot of times it's not technique. A lot of times it's up here, like you said. And a lot of times it comes from the parents.
Kids ask me all the time. I tell kids, have a good time.
Yeah.
Have fun. This is the greatest time of your life. You played Little League or Babe Ruth or high school baseball. Now you got 1% chance, 1%, what is it? 3% chance you'll get a college to look at you. And you get 2% chance that you get some type of workman's aid or you get a scholarship.
Right.
And you got 1% of people in college get signed professionally.
Right.
And that's, and just enjoy your life, enjoy the game,
Right.
and have fun at it. And don't put pressure on yourself.
I don't think it's, sorry to interrupt, but coming from New York, because I'm from upstate New York, so it's different. So moving from upstate New York, and I'm in Florida now, much different in upstate New York. The kids actually played it for fun.
Yeah.
You move down here, and every parent thinks they're grooming the next Jeter, A-Rod, Piazza, and I think these kids want to have fun, but the parents, I think a lot of them, they get kind of brutal. And Miles, correct me if I'm wrong. Do you have a lot of more conditioning you do with the parents than you do the kids? Because psychologically, the parents must get in these kids' minds and really mess up their game.
I have one family I'm working with, a kid who's a soccer player in high school, and the kid is my client. Yes, the parents are paying for it, but the kid's my client. The dad will text me every day. Well, when you see him next, talk to him about this, talk to him about that. Or he had a bad game. Can you text him? I'm like, well, first off, if I text him, he's going to know you said something to me. And then he's going to figure out that you're the one directing the course of treatment, not me.
Good point. Yeah, good point.
And there's a boundary issue there. So when I saw this kid, and I told the dad, I just can't do that. If he wants to text me, you can ask him to text me, but I just can't out of the blue text him, say, hey, I heard you had a bad day. That's not how it works. So the kid actually came in this week. I'm seeing them in my home office right now. And I said, listen, this is what your dad does. And it's okay, but I want you to know, I can't reach out to you. And he goes, good. I don't want my dad involved. It's my turn. You're my therapist. If he wants a therapist, he can go pay for a therapist on his own.
Yeah.
It's so hard. John, let me ask you a question now. You've been in memorabilia for many, many years. What do you feel like is the toughest thing that you have to deal with? We have so many people that's on Facebook. I got, probably almost 25,000 people now with all the social medias and everything. And, there's tons of people that they said that met you up in Cooperstown, been up there, they buy cards and this and whatever. And, it's, what do you say to these people and, and to have a good time doing it?
Well, exactly. Here's what I say about it, because collecting, a lot of people have to understand, some people collect for their kids' college education, and do it. I'm not saying that that's a great thing to do unless you have the money to put in, to Babe Ruth items, Lou Gehrig items. That's a different story. But the everyday collector has to be real careful. And I'm glad you brought that up, because I talk about this with everybody. People call me, I'm starting to collect for my son. I'm starting to collect, what should I do? Where should I go first? You have to understand that in our world, in this world, it's not like people compare it to buying stocks, and it's not. And I'm probably going to get killed for this, so I should look over my shoulder. But there's a retail and there's a wholesale on this stuff.
Yeah.
So you can't buy something at full-blown retail and expect it to be worth full-blown retail, because that's not how it works. And when I see these new collectors coming into it, like I said, I better watch over my shoulder, because
no, that's okay. He just has Lenny. No, keep on talking. Lenny had something that he got, and I'm very, very proud of it.
Nice. There you go.
Oh, look at that.
Okay, wait a second. Wait. I'm going to stop everybody. This is what I have been working on for over a year. This is my book. The people that ordered my book, I would tell you right now, you are going to love it. Okay. And not because of my book, we are going to bring Thurman, have some exposure, what type of guy that he really is, and to bring out a lot more votes and maybe and maybe have an opportunity to reach that pendulum, the Hall of Fame.
Miles,
And
you're not going to pull out a book, are you? We're gonna. I don't want to be the only one without a book. I
oh
don't
no
have a
no
book.
no 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 wait no he has no
I'm
no
just
he has
kidding
Marty
with you,
Appel's
Ryan.
book. No
I'm
wait
just kidding.
this is before I met y'all. This is before I met you. Okay, y'all gonna get a book. Okay, but I just want to let you know this is a great book, and I'm so proud. And I looked at the ranking; it's number 22 now.
Wow, great job.
22, yeah, and it's not even out yet. And I wanted to
Awesome.
let you know, okay. Number one, it's a great book. And if you love baseball, if you know, if you know, I'm talking about because I'm proud of it. This is what I've been posting and I'm talking about. You know, when you have something, this is like your kid. This is what you put together for a year and a half. And this is what I went through in the virus when it came out. I went through all this stuff. And I was talking to Dan Epstein, who's my co-author, and we've been talking like 4 or 5 hours a day on the book. And this writer is such a great writer. I'm just telling you, he is such a great writer. He was one of the editors of the Rolling Stones, and he made this book. It's like a love story. And Lenny would tell you, Lenny started making me cry. Lenny read the book about a month ago, and he said, "I just want to let you know. Look at Miles." Lenny said, "I'm going to start to cry." The last 4 chapters. And my wife, she reads the book and she's crying. I'm watching her. I said, "What are you doing?" She said, "I can't believe this really happened to you in baseball." You know, she's crying. I said, "This is my career." I mean, it was. I started off great, and then unfortunately I got injured. But I said I had a greatest life in the whole world. I got to play in New York, Yankee pinstripes, and the greatest fans in the whole world.
Big guy.
Y'all are the greatest fans in the world, and I love y'all all.
Big guy.
Yeah.
A lot of people are asking, how do
Ask me.
how do they get that book signed?
You get the book signed. Okay. Next week, I got a lot of books going to be shipped to me. And unfortunately, a lot of them have already been sold. People are buying 25, 50 books because they're giving them out to their companies and they give them out to all their friends. And, but I still got a lot of books. I ordered a lot of books, okay? You could go to my website, ronblombergyankees.com, the first part of next week, and do it like you did Designated Hebrew. I don't know how you do it. You purchase the book, and I'll sign the book, and I'll send it back to you. And the people that have already purchased the book, and I'm telling you I'm going to give you an address in about a week. You can send the book to me. I'll sign it for you. But you need to send a self-addressed stamped envelope to me because believe me, I got books here. I got books there. I got envelopes. I'm not organized. I'm the worst of the worst. I'm just telling you. Lenny here is so organized, and John and you, Miles, y'all organized. Joe is so organized. I'm the worst of the worst. I can hit a fastball. I can run around the bases, and I can talk to fans and could be nice to fans. But when it comes to, and you know what? My English teacher would be rolling over in her grave to find out that I'm an author for $2. I had no idea. I'm sitting down. I'm talking to my wife. And she looked at me. She said, "You're an author." I said, "No, I just wrote the book with somebody." She said, "That's an author." So, I mean, it made me feel really great. It really does. This is a book you're going to be getting. Hey, it's a thick book. It's over 300 pages. It's wonderful. And, it's a great book. Believe me, I'm telling you. Get the book. I'll sign it for you. For some reason, during the season, if you bring the book to me, just let me know. I'll sign it for you, whatever you need. You'll love it. Is that enough?
Yeah, that was great. Can
Okay,
I go to a baseball question? Am I going to?
Yeah, I want that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. We talked about the 73 season.
Yes.
So now I'm going to combine Mike Farrell and Mark Diamond's questions. Basically, 74, you have a new manager, Bill Verdon, and you're playing in Shea Stadium. What was all that like?
Oh, that's terrible. I felt like I was going out of the world. from Yankee Stadium to, okay, Miles, okay, you can listen to this now. Going to Yankee Stadium, where it's the home that was Ruth built, okay, to Shea Stadium, where the house that the airplanes built, okay, you got Shea, okay, but it was tough. I mean, it was tough. A lot of guys. What we used to do, we used to meet someplace. The bus would take us to the stadium, or would drive to the stadium. We did have a lot of Yankee fans to go there, and some Met fans. But the only thing I didn't like about Shea Stadium, two things. When it rained, it smelled like anything, the worst, because you're under it's like a marsh. It's a marsh that, so whenever it rained, when you used to go from the clubhouse to the dugout, it stunk. I mean, it really did. Really, really bad. And then it was tough. I know you gritting your teeth, but, and then the airplanes flying over the stadium. Yeah. And I mean, it's like, you're getting ready to get in the ball game, and all of a sudden you had a 747 like this, and you know how they climbing up out of LaGuardia. It takes a few seconds to go over, and the pitch, and you have no idea. You couldn't even hear the address system, and that was tough. But I saw the ball extremely well. I hit few home runs there. I remember hitting 2 home runs off of Ferguson Jenkins, hitting a home run off of, I think, I forgot, it was, I forgot who I hit them off of, but I didn't, but playing at Shea Stadium, it was different. It was different. It was, I couldn't find the delis after a ball game. I would have to go, I lived in Riverdale, and after a ball game, it's 11:30 at night. You go back to your apartment, it's 12 o'clock. I'm starving to death because there was hardly any food that they fed us at Shea. But, I tell you, the good part about it was we met a lot of the Jets. We became very, very good friends with Joe Namath, who became a very, very good friend with. Richard Castor, who was the wide receiver for the Jets. And let me see, who was the owner? Leon Hess, who owned the Jets. We became very, very good friends with him, and he was very, very nice to us. I think he was a little bit nicer, being Jewish. I got up to sit up in his box, so maybe he felt bad for me. So I used to sit up in his box. But no, but the fans out there, they're very good to us. I mean, and when the best time when we were at Shea Stadium, when we had the Mayor's Trophy game, and we played in Yankee Stadium, and then we played at Shea Stadium. But Shea Stadium is a different breed compared. But Citi Field is beautiful. I'm just telling you right now, it's a great stadium to watch a ball game, and they're going to have a really good team this year.
Hey, I heard that Elliot Maddox hurt himself and really derailed his career. Hurt himself while playing at Shea Stadium. Yeah,
he ran and got into a sprinkler head, and the sprinkler head wasn't number one. Of course, it wasn't on, but it was something was broken in the sprinkler head where you just don't hit it. It was missing, and when he was running, I remember because I was playing first base or right field. I remember him running, and then all of a sudden he just goes down. And I mean, that really destroyed his career. It really destroyed, because he was a great ball player. Great center fielder, great hands. Anything else, Lenny?
How about playing for Bill Verdon? Okay.
Bill was a different type of guy. I like Bill. A lot of players did not, because we got him from the Pirates. National League compared to American League is a little bit different. And he just didn't know our people as well as he did the National League. I got along well with him. We always called him Popeye, because Bill always had those forearms that are as big as like Popeye. But he never bothered me. Understand something. The managers are easy if you're going well. And if they put your name in the lineup card and you go to the ballpark, you don't have to deal with any management. You're just going to play that ball game, and you know you got to get ready to play. But when you struggle a little bit, and then all of a sudden you miss 1 game, 2 games, 3 games, you got to get worried a little bit, because you know that the guy in AAA or AA, you start looking at his batting average, and his batting average is coming up a little bit, and he's doing well. You know, all of a sudden you're afraid to go to the ballpark, because you might get sent down. If you get sent down, it's a tough way to get called back up through the Yankee organization.
See, if I was around then, I would have said you got to focus on what you can control. You can't control the guys behind you. You just got to, when you get your opportunities, you just got to go out there and give it everything you got. Leave everything you got in the field. If you can't control,
well, people, you know what, Miles? People always ask me, did I ever get distracted because of the fans yelling or booing? Right. I loved it.
Yeah.
And people always ask me, I guess maybe because I was a fairly decent hitter, they always said, now in the last inning, you're losing by 1 run, a man on third base, 2 outs. You got to get the guy in. Or, or let's say walk you, or, but I love those situations. Yeah. I mean, I watch people shooting free throws, and, they losing by 2, and it's 0.1 second left to go in the game. That's the greatest part of the game of athletics. Right. If you cannot, and most people say, how did you do this? I'm nervous like that. This is why we played. Right. My whole life, it never bothered me. I love to listen to fans booing me. It made me excited. I love when they cheer you. And the worst part is when you make errors. I did make a few errors. I got booed. But the next game, I get a base hit, drive in a couple of runs, and they cheer me louder. But living in New York is you're a different breed. You better perform. If you don't perform in New York, and if you give them the finger, or if you walk off the field, if you start cussing them out, and and say something in the paper, you better not come into the clubhouse the next day. They'll follow you home. They'll follow. I remember a picture. I don't know if you remember Ed Whitson. Remember Ed Whitson? They followed him home. He never came to the ballpark anymore. He just went home.
Oh, wow.
He didn't do well there with the Yanks.
No, and you remember, John, I don't know if you remember him. You got to perform. You got the papers. You got all the papers in New York. You see your picture on the paper, and, if you don't do well, they're going to tell you don't do well. So, you got to have thick skin. Anything else, Lenny?
Actually, this was a Twitter question, and I guess it's really up John's alley. If somebody has something of their own that they want Ron to sign, is there a procedure in place for this?
Yeah, definitely. Tons of people are doing that with us. You can email me directly. I'll post my email up there, but it's john.ronblomberg@gmail.com. And you can get a hold of me, and we'll arrange that and tell you what you got to do. Super simple. We do it all the time. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
And, this is sort of fun. When you get something in the mail and you sign in it, it brings back memories to you. And I do sign everything. And the day that I don't sign anything, the days you don't like me. So you got to make sure that you send me stuff, number 1. And number 2, you send me the book so I can sign and make me feel good. If you don't do that, I'm very depressed, and then I have to go talk to Miles. Miles going to have to get me out of this one.
I give you the MLB discount.
I like that.
It's also the Jewish discount. But
I like that.
I can say that.
Like that, you would almost hit a ball out of the you hit it into the third deck, and during Phil Rizzuto's call, he said it basically kissed the bottom of the facade. Do you remember that home run?
I do. It was against Nolan Ryan. And I was a fairly strong guy, and I had pretty quick wrists, and I used a heavy bat. My bat that I used, and people say, God, did you really use? I used a 38 ounce bat. I used to use this 38 length bat. And people said, that's a tree trunk. Back then, the only guy that had really a bigger bat than I did was Richie Allen. And Richie Allen used a 40-40. I used a 38-38. The reason why I used a 38-38, because I like to use my quickness of my hands. I wasn't one of these guys like an Aaron Judge going to hit the ball 600 feet every single time. I'm not that type of, I was a gap to gap, hit some home runs. But if I got into the ball, I could hit it pretty good. And I did hit that. And so every time Reggie comes back to the stadium at Old Timers Day, I say, Reggie, see that right field? But unfortunately, it's the new stadium now. And I said, do you see that facade down there? And he said, no, that's a new facade. I said, well, just think about that's at the old stadium. It's an old facade. I hit that. I said, did you hit that? And, and he'll walk away from me, even never talk to me again like that. Who usually brings that up is Mickey Rivers and Oscar Gamble. When Oscar was alive, those two always created a lot of, a little bit of tension between everybody. So that was fun. I enjoyed that. Anything else, Mr. Lenny? Can't hear you.
So used to muting Ron, I guess I muted myself. I think you answered this one, but which current player on the Yankees reminds you most of yourself?
Well, I'm left-handed, and I think the guy that really reminds me of me, and I will tell you, okay, and I loved his swing when he first came up to the Yankees, and I think he was really meant for the stadium, and I think he could have been a pure 300 hitter was Greg Bird. And, unfortunately got injured an awful lot. If you look at that swing, and even stick, Gene Michaels would say, hey, he said, Bloomy, that's your swing, but you had more power. I said, hitting a home run in right field, you don't need an awful lot of power. Only you just need to hit the ball up in the air. And nowadays, he was, he was a gap-to-gap hitter. And I think he hurt himself a little bit where his knees became really bad and he couldn't really use his body. And I think that's what hurt him an awful lot. But he was a beautiful hitter. When he came up, Scooter used to always say, and Sterling used to say, this guy reminds you of you like this. And I used to watch him take BP. And then I see him in the game. It's like two different type of hitters. But he was, I thought he had a very good shot to have a very, very good, some good seasons up in New York, but unfortunately didn't.
I thought you were going to say Miguel Andujar because you were talking about.
No, I just feel so bad for him because, he's such a great kid and he's such a pure hitter. And he just, he's a guy that Miles needs to talk to because this is a guy that right off the bat, he's, came back off of injuries last year. Didn't make the team last year, didn't play. This year, he read the whole season that he wasn't going to play third base. He's not going to play the outfield. He needs to get better on his defense. They have too many DHs on the team. And then all of a sudden, he starts hitting the ball a little bit better. And he was playing, I think he hurt his wrist by hitting. And now he's going to be on the DL. And he reminds me of me, just can't have a break. But this guy is a true hitter. He wakes up, he could close his eyes and hit, but they need to get out of this hit. They just need to get up there and just a hit. Like Gary Sanchez, we've been talking about Gary Sanchez. Here's a guy that had great stuff and people say, yeah, but his attitude. Okay, his attitude. Okay, but let's take this year. This is a whole total different year. Now I'm looking at his batting. He's hitting like 286 or 290 or whatever. But he's still hitting his home runs and not getting base hits. So that's telling me that, they're not pitching him away so he could go to right center. And they're not pitching him really in tight so he could go to left center. they leave him the ball over the plate. He's hitting the ball 450 feet to left center field. And you don't need that from him. You got too many home runs like it is. You got too many strikeouts like it is. You need for him to come up with guys on base, driving guys, and to win. That's how you're going to win games with Gary Sanchez.
Don't forget, you have a lot of young pitchers that are in spring training. They're pitching that aren't going to make the club. So he's hitting off of those guys as well. Wait till the season starts.
True.
Yeah, but you know what? Listen to me now. But you still got to hit. Hitting, people don't realize, but he's not going to get the pitches like he would in a game. Like they're going to throw him everything away. They're going to throw him in tight.
Yep. He's
going to foul some balls. He'll foul one like 550 feet up, and he's waiting for a ball a little bit over the plate. Then all of a sudden they'll throw from a 96, 97 mile cut fastball. They'll throw him on the outside part of the plate. He's going to chase it, even if it's like 6, 8 inches outside, because they don't, they're going to call the ball right, but this is the way he is. He's an aggressive hitter, but, they're going to, I think, hopefully, if he stays on the team in a sense where he starts, they're going to put him between, like they did with Urshela at third base. That's why he never hit with other teams, because he wasn't, on a team that really had those hitters hit in front of him, hit behind them. They're going to do with that Gary Sanchez too, that they have to pitch to him. And I think that's why they're hitting him 7th now, rather than, up in the lineup, because they don't need him up in the lineup. They need him go down. They need him to be squeezed from a guy hit in front of him and also behind him.
Well, less pressure on him right now too.
Absolutely. You see that, if he comes back and has a halfway decent year, the Yankees will win. They're going to win by a lot of games, because he's a real deal. If everybody's a superstar till they get that word if he doesn't do this, it doesn't work. It's got to be the chemistry he has to, and you need to talk to him also. He needs to put you in your suitcase.
You got some phone calls to make, Miles.
Yeah, he needs to put you in his suitcase.
Why don't we do a Zoom, just you, me, and Andujar and Sanchez?
Oh yeah,
there you go.
4 of us.
No comprende.
And Mark Willis too. We can get him back on.
Oh, absolutely.
That'd be a good
Joe
one.
Pepitone, just to talk to him.
We had a good time. In this Zoom, this has really been fun, because I never thought this was going. Hey, somebody told me to do this. I never knew how to do this. Now all of a sudden, I'm having so much fun, and this taking my days of, I look on the internet, people said, I can't wait till I read your book. And you know what? It makes me feel good. And, because number one, the book, they're going to love the book. I mean, it's not just a baseball book where a guy hit 250 and, he went back, he felt bad. He ate a steak that night. The next night he's 0 for 2 against this guy. And then the next night he's 0 for 3 against, then he goes to Chicago or goes to Cleveland. Nah, this is fun. We had a good time. I'm reading the book like this. And, we had, with Frankie Valli, we had with Soupy Sales, we had with Carlos Gambino, people were reading and people like that. I mean, it's we're Jay Black with Jay and the Americans. He was a dear friend of ours. And, we did, it was unbelievable with the Shalites, the Temptations, the Four Tops. We go to the Apollo. We used to go up on the stage at the Apollo up in Harlem. We used to eat at a place called Sylvia's. That's a soul place we used to eat there. And then we used to go to the Apollo, and they sat us down there, and the Temptations come out in their pink outfits, and then the Four Tops would come out in their yellow outfits like that. The best of the best. The best of the best. The best of the best. It was so much fun.
Did you just say Carlo Gambino from the Gambino crime family?
Correct. Yes.
By the way, John, you like this because I collect memorabilia. We've talked off. I have some mob memorabilia. I have a check signed by Carlo Gambino.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome.
I got a few others too, but that's like Bonanno, and I got Roy DeMeo, and I got Hill. In fact, I have a whole section over here, all mob books, and I have not that I'm a fan, but I got my little John Gotti bobblehead. Now, I'm just an organized crime buff. Baseball first, organized crime second.
You know,
You
John
want to hear
Gotti
something
used to,
cool?
John Gotti Senior used to come, Junior used to come to all our games.
Junior.
But we, you know what? We're very naive. We had no idea anything about any of this stuff. Nothing. We do. Hey, we go to restaurants. We go right on in. We get to park right in front of the restaurants. Go eat. The food just kept on coming out. All of a sudden, you leave there. You gain an extra 10 pounds, and you have no idea. It was so much fun.
That's awesome.
You know, and we used to leave them tickets for the games and stuff like that. We didn't see any of this stuff. It was great.
Miles, you want to see something cool? Wait, hold on. I'll be right back. I gotta grab something over here.
And while he's gone, Boomer, I'm looking forward to your book. Remember, I'm a Mets fan, but I'm a baseball fan.
You'll love the book. I'm telling you, you'll love it.
Dude, I love reading about baseball and the history of the game and when baseball really was baseball. And we could, many other shows about how it's changed today. And, as a fan, I love the game, like the way it's changed. So I like reading books like, Teammates by, about the Red Sox, about,
I don't like the Red Sox. Nope. John, what do you have?
So you brought up Henry Hill. So a while ago, before he passed, I had reached out to him and his wife on Facebook, and we actually became friends. So we brought him into Utica, and we rented out the Stanley old movie theater, and we all watched the Goodfellas with him. So I spent a lot of time with Henry Hill, and he signed a little bat. F you, pay me, Henry Hill. This is his plane ticket. We flew him in from New York, and with everything, with the whole New York, with the whole heist and stuff. So then he signed balls for me. But yeah, Henry Hill was awesome. And when you said Henry Hill, I said I got to get this stuff to show you. He signed shovels for us, all sorts of stuff, shine boxes.
Get your shine box. Box.
Exactly. Yeah,
this is wonderful. Hey, I think the fans gonna really love this because it's not. Hey, we don't have one of these ball players just screaming at us and all that stuff. We're not, But we're talking really with the memorabilia, with what you're doing, John, Miles, and putting everything in perspective, how athletes or how people should be, and they have problems. And after this pandemic, they're gonna have a lot more problems. And if you have any problems whatsoever, call up my main man, Miles. This guy is the best of the best. And with the memorabilia, John is going to be unbelievable. And, John will go through the whole thing with you. If you don't want me, that's fine. If you want something from somebody else, hey, that's great. And also, I'm going to publicize it again. You'll love the book. It's unbelievable. Lenny saw the book. Joe just got his book. And y'all gonna be getting your books. Anybody that order the books or gonna get their books, if you order from pre-order, I will sign it. Only thing you have to do is send me a self-addressed thing. I'll sign it, send it right back to you.
Now, let me ask you with that, before you get off track with that, when you do have all the books, enough books at your house, people will just be able to order them from you. And you could just send them to them signed, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I want to make sure.
They're going to order them. They're going to order them from my website because I have it. With the website that you're going to put on. It's going to just like my designated Hebrew. They're going to purchase the book right there. They're going to put what to write on it. I got the book right here. I'm going to sign it.
Exactly. So then they won't have to send it to you. Then they won't have to send it to you, and you send it back to them eventually.
No, not at all.
The
only time that they're going to send me their book is when they purchase it pre-ordered. They're going to get the book. They're going to send it to me. I'll sign it, send it right back to them. That's the same day or 2 days, 3 days later, they'll get the book and everything like that. You'll love the book. And also, I'm doing a whole big thing with bookends. Y'all probably heard of bookends in Ridgewood. I did that on my first shop at with Duke Snyder. It was great. We got to go. It's 9 o'clock. Miles, yes. John, thank you very much. Joe, Lenny, thank y'all very much. Have a great evening. Y'all be safe. I love you. Baseball season starting. And also, I know you're going to ask Miles some questions, and John, you're going to ask him some questions too. But if you do get the book, you'll love the book. Believe me. If you don't, I'll take it back. I'll give you your money back.
Can people
That's
get it? Can people get it before April 21st?
Absolutely. You could. My book is going to be coming out in about where I will be having it. My book that they sending it to me the first part of next week.
And you could ship it. You could ship it out before April 21st.
Correct.
Okay.
Absolutely. You'll have it before April 21st. You go to my website, you order the book, tell me how many you want, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever you want. I'll have it here, sign it what you want. I'll send it right to you, and you'll get it within 2 or 3 days. Depends on UPS or the post office. I love y'all. Y'all are wonderful. John, I love you, big guy. Miles, I love you, big guy. Tell the family. John, did you ever get anything from me?